Good to be with you this evening. My name is Debbie, as Jerry mentioned. I do have a background in business. I think I started my first business when I think it was about 12. Kind of been in business ever since. And I loved being my own boss. That's what I loved about having my own business. But I had absolutely no time. And I had no way of ever creating time. And it's my privilege this evening to share with you some information that was shared with me. When I first heard it, I was really sceptical. So if you're sceptical, I know where you're at. I was not interested at all in taking a look. But there was this gnawing thing that had been happening for years and years where I really wanted to do more, be more, have more. And I really wasn't in a vehicle that would ever allow me to do that. And I was asked two key questions that really changed the way I looked at the future, and I'd suggest you might want to ask those same questions yourself. The first question was, if I continued to do what I was doing for another 5 years, where would I be? Now, I could easily look around at other people who were in the same industry as I was and see people who'd been doing exactly the same thing for 5 or 10 years longer. And I did not want to give up the next 5 or 10 years to get what they had. It was no different than what I had. But the second question was a real eye-opener. If life was perfect in every way, what would it look like? Well, I knew what it didn't look like. It looked like what I was living right there and then. So I was encouraged to take a look. As I said, I was pretty sceptical. I thought with a name like Nu Skin, it probably means I have to sell skincare products, and I don't know about you, but that is not my cup of tea. Not interested at all. Now, if you want to sell skincare products, knock yourself out, but it wasn't my cup of tea. So I started to have a look, and I dug and I dug and I dug, and I became seriously impressed about this company. I was impressed by what they had already accomplished, but most importantly about their vision for the future and where they were heading, because it was quite a different track than the path we all seem to be on. We seem to be taught this faulty system where we go to school, we get educated, we learn stuff, and then we go to work for a really, really, really long time. Hopefully we're working in a job that we can use our skills that we learnt at, which is actually becoming more and more rare. I see people all the time who have university degrees in one area and who are working somewhere completely different. Anyone resonate with that? So hopefully you can put your skills that you've learnt into the workforce. But then we're taught that we work really, really hard for a really, really long time for somebody else so that we can have this little wee window out on the end where we get to live. There, that little wee window at the end is where we get to choose when we do stuff, what we do, how we get there, what time we get up. That's when we have freedom. Well, unfortunately, stats show us that in New Zealand, by the time we're 70, the vast majority of us are either sick, broke, or still working, or dead. I don't know about you, but that's not very inspiring. That didn't really fit into my picture of do more, be more, have more, unless it was do more work, be more tired, and have more debt. But that wasn't what my do more, be more, have more was all about. It looked more like this. Yes, we go and learn, and then we work. And every single one of us in this room knows how to work. Kiwis know how to work. That's not the problem. But what if you could work really, really smart, as well as working hard, for the next 4 or 5 years? Head down, tail up, get stuck in, get the job done. That would allow you to have freedom for the rest of your life. How does that sound? Does that sound a little bit better than the top one? Yeah? So how would you do that? Well, you have to do something in those 4 years that's pretty different from the top model. Wouldn't we? Mm-hmm. If we're going to keep doing the same things, we're only going to get the same results. So we have to do something pretty different. And we have to have 5 key elements perfectly aligned in order for it to work long term. And we're going to briefly go through those 5 key elements, because without every single one of them stacking up, there is no future. You might want to apply them to your current occupation or your current, if you're self-employed, your current business, and see how they stack up. First one being market trends. Trends is an interesting word. It's where everyone is spending money. So hands up, who wants to look old, feel old? Any takers? Look old, feel old? No? Really? Do you think that's just in this room? Or do you think the people in the room next door are also in the same boat? They don't want to look old, feel old. Do you think it's just here or it's elsewhere?
Everywhere.
Do you think it's just in Auckland, or do you think people overseas want to look young, feel young as well? That is because it's a huge market trend. Anti-aging health and wellness is going to be the next $1 trillion industry. Put that in perspective, there's only 2 other trillion-dollar industries in history: automobile and computer. And anti-aging is going to be the next trillion-dollar industry. So we couldn't stop it if we tried. Every man and his dog wants to look young, feel young, and they're willing to spend money to make sure that happens. Okay? Another emerging market trend is technology and communication. Our ability to communicate and do business around the globe at our fingertips is incredible, isn't it? We could be talking to someone anywhere in the world within a few seconds at no cost. That's powerful. Think back only 10 years ago, how different it was. Now, the other one that's kind of under the radar is supplemental income. Who remembers the days when in Auckland, a family could have one income, they'd be perfectly fine, and they'd probably have a batch up north? Who remembers those days? Yeah? Is that the same now? Most families can't even get by with 2 incomes, can they? They're actively looking for ways to supplement their income because the cost of living here is so expensive. But it's not just here. It's a global thing as well, where more and more people are realising that the scariest thing they can have is a job. It's the most insecure future they can have is to work for someone else. They want to take control, take charge, and work for themselves. So those things there, if you can line them all up, you've got one heck of a trend that you can ride. Now, Nu Skin is all about innovation, and it's about anti-aging at its source. It is the premier anti-aging company. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the products. You've already seen a fabulous product demo down the back, and all the information is online when it comes to the science, the technology, the products. So I'll just skip over it a little bit. But just to say that these guys are the best of the best of the best. They have over 100 scientists that work in-house, and they collaborate with hundreds of major universities around the world, which means we have science and technology like you will not see anywhere else. If you think of anti-aging as like a drip, a leaky roof, any other company out there are running around mopping up the leak, mopping up the drips. Some of them have gold-edged flannels. Some of them might even have gold buckets. But all they're doing is mopping up the aftermath, catching the drips. Nu Skin would jump up on the roof and fix the leak. A completely different approach to the issue of anti-aging. So we have science and technologies that create instant emotional impact. Do we not live in an instant society? Microwave popcorn, what's with that? Popcorn by hand only takes 3 or 4 minutes. What's the deal with microwave popcorn? We want instant feedback. We don't want to try a cream for 149 days to see if we can get a 2% reduction in wrinkles, do we? We want to slap it on and see if it works. Yes? And so we have products that actually deliver that. One of the most amazing technologies we have is this thing called a biophotonic scanner. It's up here at the front. There's millions and millions and millions of dollars invested in this little device. It looks harmless enough, but it is very, very powerful in what it's able to do. Now, you get a reading somewhere between 0 and 200,000, and it's measuring your antioxidant levels. Just as Lizzie spoke of earlier, the antioxidants are what protect us against disease. Okay, so the higher our levels of antioxidants, the lower our risk for disease. We know that if you're below 39,000, you are 5 times more likely to develop cancer, diabetes, or heart disease. So it's a pretty important measurement to get. And we just stick our hand in front, and it will give us a number. Now, I'm pretty sceptical, and when we first got access to the scanner, I scanned my family and thought, oh, it's kind of a cool little gizmo. Didn't really take much notice of it. My whole family scanned pretty much about the same, which you'd expect because we have a similar diet, right? We're all living in the same house. Except my husband, who scanned considerably lower than the rest of us. Now, my husband's a French pastry chef, so what do you think we're thinking? We know what you're eating at work, right? Well, a couple of months later, he had heart failure. No other signs or symptoms, but the scanner was telling us something was going on long before anything else showed up. Now, I'm not telling you that if you scan low, you're going to have heart failure. But it's a little bit like driving home and you've got the oil light going and the petrol light going and the temperature gauge is rising. The car's still running fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
But for how long? So, pretty powerful measurement. I'd invite you all to get scanned. ageLOC Science is what has been growing the company by $1 billion a year, which is pretty impressive. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but if you imagine that this on the left is an orchestra perfectly tuned, just as we are when we're young. Perfectly tuned orchestra, everything sounds fabulous. As we get older, things change. Things get a bit out of tune. Some things are flat, some things are sharp, but the whole kind of thing together, not quite the same. But imagine if you could take a supplement that could reset the genes back to the way they were when they were younger. Can you imagine? It's almost like having a complete retune, a reboot, a defrag of your entire system. Can you imagine that? The reality of that is people look younger, they feel younger, they have energy, they have focus, they have clarity, they have all the things that those of you in your 20s are taking for granted, and you have no idea how lucky you are. And the rest of us are desperately trying to get them back, right? So that's our age-lock science. And you can talk to the person who invited you. You can go home and get all the research, all the papers, all the stuff on that. We had a fabulous presentation in the weekend just on the science and one of the products. But needless to say, it is in a ballpark all of its own. There is no competition for our product range. Product range is 100% money-back guarantee, and they absolutely work. How about looking younger in 5 minutes? How about using a device, they call it the wrinkle iron in Europe, and you can just iron away at your face and look 5 years younger in 5 minutes. Any interest? Do you think there might be a bit of a buzz when that gets out? Do you think if you ironed your face and looked 5 years younger, that when you went to work the next day, people might comment? They might be like, oh, what have you done? What kind of energy would that create? Can you imagine around the water cooler? Everyone, my goodness, what are you doing? What have you done? That excitement and that buzz is contagious, and we sell millions and millions and millions of those units every year. Skin, face, body, anything that ages, anything that falls apart, anything that needs repairing, your skin can fix. The company itself is rock solid. Now, I personally really needed to know that. I'd been in 3 companies that went bankrupt, hence the skepticism. I needed to know that these guys were going to be around in the future, that they had the capital, that they had the infrastructure, that they had the intellectual capital to go the long haul. Well, I discovered that Forbes rated them the 5th most trusted company in all of the USA. Well, I thought that was pretty cool. There's 27 million companies in the USA, and Forbes rated these guys the 5th most trusted. So I thought, well, Forbes probably know a thing or two. I can trust them. And then I heard they had a 100-year business plan. Seriously. Most businesses in New Zealand don't have a 2-year plan. A 100-year business plan. Operate in 54 countries. Look around the room. Most of them are represented right here, and that's why New Zealand's such an exciting market. Who knows someone overseas? Who knows someone who knows someone overseas? Who is from overseas? It's a melting pot, right? Perfect place to do international business. Won numerous business awards. They've got the highest possible credit rating. They've held that consecutively. They trade on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, I know nothing about the stock market, but I do know that if you're on the stock exchange, you are under constant scrutiny. You have to do what you say and say what you do, and they better line up, or you're out. And so that gave me a lot of confidence knowing that if they're on the stock exchange and they're as big as they are, that they are being watched and they are doing everything above board. They do what they say and they say what they do, which is good to know, right? If you're going to partner with a company, you need to know that. Annual revenue spike, absolutely huge. They're about making a difference in everyday lives like yours and ours, but also about making a difference where it really counts. Every day we serve 100,000 meals to kids who really need it. Now that is a company that takes its social responsibility to a whole new level. This company's been around 30 plus years. The same founders, the same owners. Do you think they're in it for the money? No way. They could have sold the intellectual capital to just some of their products for billions and billions of dollars. They're in here to make a difference. And they know that the bigger the company gets, the bigger difference we can make where it really counts. I'd encourage you to check out Nourish the Children and find out more info about that. So we have this outstanding company that's rock solid with this amazing vision for the future. We have incredible anti-aging products, and we have this huge global trend where people want to look younger and feel younger. So how on earth does that affect us? What have we got to do with any of this? Well, all we do is connect the dots. We've got all the dots on the paper, and all we're going to do is connect them. We're going to connect to the consumers who want to look younger, feel younger, to the company that has the products that can deliver. Company will ship the products directly to the consumer, and the consumer pays the company directly. Who's got their own business? Is it as streamlined as that? Or do you have overheads and infrastructure and rent and staff and stock and advertising and accountants and sales reps and call centres and product development? We don't have to worry about any of that. None of it. We just connect the dots. We have this thing called social capital where we know people. Hands up who knows someone. Is there a good chance you know 10 people that I don't?
Yes.
Is there a good chance they will know 10 people that I don't?
Yeah.
That's social capital. That can pay you very, very well. All we do is tap in. We don't sell anything, we don't convince, we don't persuade. We simply connect people to what they want. People are dying to get hold of products that will work, that will do the job. No sales pitch needed. It's like having the last bottle of water in the desert. Just get out the way and let them get it. It's as simple as that. We connect the dots. Consumers buy online, hundreds of products, billions of dollars in research and development. I have not heard of a single Nu Skin product that has had less than $1 million spent on it before it was released. They take this very, very seriously. So if all you're doing is connecting the dots, does it pay you very much? Is it worth it? Well, let's imagine we can teach you how to build a small little home-based business that has a couple of dozen consumers. Okay? They're purchasing directly from the company. Company is shipping product directly to them. You don't see the product, you don't see the money, you don't see any of that. But because you made the connection, you connected the dots, it's part of your business. Who thinks they could connect with a couple of dozen people somewhere in the world who want to look younger, feel younger? Yeah? Now you know 10 people I don't, right? And they know 10 people that you don't. Do you think out of that you'd find a couple of dozen people eventually? Sure, of course you could. Small little home-based business. So that will pay you about $500 a month. No one's running off to Hawaii just yet, right? $500 a month? Not even shoe money. But it's a start. If you could build a small little home-based business, do you think you could help someone else do the same thing? Yeah? Well, if you showed a couple of other people how to do that, your average income would be just under $2,000 a month. That's shoe money. That's good shoe money, right? Help another couple. Let's imagine you help 4. So you've started this own little business. You've helped 4 other people start their own little business. Now your average income is $3,600 a month. Is that worth it? That's not bad. It's part-time income. It's on top of whatever you're doing. No matter how busy you are, this can just slide right on over the top. You need more than that? Help more people. Very, very simple. It's proven. We've got thousands of people who've already done it. And the reason they can do it is because they can be trained and guided and mentored step by step along the way. And that is the biggest key of all. It's all very well having this fabulous business, but how do you access it? How do you develop it? How do you grow it? How do you build it? We all come in with such different backgrounds and such different ways of doing things that we need this common formula for how we do it. So OTG System 7 really bridges that gap between wherever you are and wherever you want to be. Now, if that's an extra $500 a month, this will deliver it. If it's an extra $5,000 a month, this will deliver it. Pick a number, and this will deliver it. It bridges that gap between wherever you are and wherever you want to be. And that's the missing link, isn't it? That's the missing link between going out there and making a big difference. The New Zealand situation is such that it is about to explode. Hands up everyone who knew someone in another country. The other countries are exploding. They know people here. So yes, we can build an enormous business from here out, and if we don't, they're going to build it from out within. Either way, it's about to explode. We're going to take this market to $1 million a month in revenue for the company in very short order. When we do that, it's $100,000 a week for the team who put it together. How much do you want? unlimited. Getting started is really, really simple. Grab some product. You don't have to mortgage your house. You don't have to sign up 20 years of debt. Just get some product. Try it. If your BMW salesman rolls up in a Ford, what are you going to be thinking? Something's not right. Yeah? If someone recommends that you go see a hairdresser, where are you looking while they recommend it? At their hair. So you want to be a product of the product and try them. They're insane. They are amazing. Try them. You can just look around the room and see the people who are on the products. It just stands out, right? Try the products. The 4-year plan, I'll go through it really briefly because Kenton's going to do a way better job of it when I'm finished. But basically, this is the average of what it takes to get free. Okay, so let's imagine in year 1 or step 1, because you can do this as quick as you want. In year 1, you build that small little home-based business and you help 4 others do the same thing. Average income, $3,600 a month, and the company will throw in a trip for 2 to a 5-star resort somewhere in the world. That's not bad. Who's been on a trip for 2 to a 5-star resort somewhere in the world from your own company or your boss that you currently work with? What? No takers. You're in the wrong deal. All right, step number 2, or year number 2. You're still consolidating that first group, still working with them, helping with them. Add another couple more. Average income, $6,500 a month. And another trip for 2 to a 5-star resort, all expenses paid, somewhere in the world. Could you handle that? Who's opposed to that kind of travel? No? All good? Okay, step number 3 or year number 3, help another 2. $13,500 a month and another trip for 2, 5-star resort, all expenses paid, somewhere in the world. Now the question I had was, yeah, sure, but do people really do that? Does that really work? Well, those are the averages. There's people doing way more than that. These are actual accounted average incomes. And there's tens and tens of thousands of people who are doing exactly that. So if they can, why not you? Step number 4 or year number 4, this is where you may not sleep. Help another 4. Average incomes take about 7 years to consolidate, but they're probably worth it. Now, most people in the room at $67,000 a month, you've gone out. You're out. You can't even comprehend it, right? But just muse over it. Think about it a little bit. By about 1 o'clock in the morning, you would have spent it. Just think it over. You can do it. I know you can do it. Would that make a difference? Somewhere on that screen, there is a number that would make one heck of a difference in your family right now if it was coming into your bank account every single month. Wouldn't it? That would make a big difference. $3,500 extra, that would make a big difference. And somewhere on that screen is a number that means freedom. Isn't it? Why not you? Why not now? We're taking the market to $1 million a month. We've got one team, one dream, 1 million, and we would encourage you to check it out properly, get the information, and just go for it. This is like a sport. This is not where you read all the books, study all the info, get a degree, and then go to work. This is where you make a decent decision, make it once, go do it. You'll be coached and mentored step by step on how to do it. We have the distinct privilege of having a gentleman in the room tonight who's going to take you through the next part of the presentation, who's going to show you how he not only built that for himself, but taught thousands and thousands of others how to build that for themselves. Freedom for you and freedom for others. What that means to him and how that has impacted his life. I don't believe he's worked for quite a number of years, which would be nice to do, wouldn't it? He's not even 40. Would that be nice to do? Yeah? He has been incredibly successful with this company because he gives. He gives his time, he gives his energy, he gives his commitment, and he's an absolute gem to be around. Please help me welcome up Mr. Kenton Worthington.